Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look into the Nokia X35G versus the Nothing Phone 1. Now the Nokia X35G shares a lot of similarities with the Nokia G65G which I compared earlier on. It does differ in certain key areas such as the choice of display and also the imaging capability, but I don't expect the Nokia X35G to perform much different. Having said that, the Nokia X35G that I have here is the 256GB variant, which is priced the same as the 256GB variant of the Nothing Phone 1. Do take note, what I have with me here is the lower variant of the Nothing Phone 1, which is priced aggressively at only 1499 ringgit. Now, before I proceed further, do take note that the Nokia X35G and also the Nokia G65G received a new Android 12 update, which also introduced the January security update along with a new camera feature called as the Flash Shot. Now, to know more about Flash Shot and what it can do, I suggest follow my Twitter channel where I have made some review and share some samples. Now let's begin our comparison. So this is the Nokia X35G. What I have with me is the 256GB variant of the Nokia X35G, and this is the 128GB variant of the Nothing Phone 1. The 128GB variant of the Nothing Phone 1 is significantly cheaper at 1499 ringgit, but the 256GB variant of the Nothing Phone 1 and the X30 are priced similar in Malaysia. Having said that, the Nothing Phone 1 seems to pack a superior hardware for the asking price. Now, when it comes to the build quality of the device, both these devices are built using recycled material, but they do feel premium in hand. But I will give this to the Nokia X35G. The Nokia X35G gives you a much satisfactory grip feel thanks to its much narrower and slimmer profile. Now, the Gorilla Glass Victus that is protecting the Nokia X35G is superior than the Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and rear, protecting the Nothing Phone 1. Now, on the front, you will see some similarities where both these devices actually have an in-display fingerprint scanner. Now, this is the second device from HMD Global to feature an in-display fingerprint scanner. The first one being the Nokia 9 PureView, and we know how poor the performance of the in-display fingerprint scanner is on that device. On the Nokia X35G, the performance is pretty good, reliable, fast and accurate. Now, another similarities between both these devices are the display, but before we get into that, let's take a look into the processing capability of the hardware. So the Nokia X35G is powered by Snapdragon 695, which is technically slightly slower than the ones on the Nothing Phone 1, which is powered by Snapdragon 778. Having said that, the performance when it comes to loading web page and browsing isn't that much of a difference. So before I get into that, let me share the Wi-Fi performance of this device. Now, similar to how it was with the Nokia G65G, when comparing both these devices, the Nothing Phone 1 seems to grab more of the bandwidth compared to the Nokia G60 and even the Nokia X35. So it's quite apparent here that you have twice the speed on the Nothing Phone 1. Now, you would expect with a better processor, with a better bandwidth absorption by the Nothing Phone 1, it will perform much superior when it comes to loading web pages, etc. But the real life experience is pretty much the same, and you do have a more consistent performance from the Nokia device, especially when it comes to streaming YouTube, where the phone, like the Nothing Phone 1, tends to drop in the resolution in the same network that is connected to. So let's load some web page. I'm going to go to Engadget and show you if we can see any differences between both these devices. So let's go to Engadget. I'm going to load both these pages hopefully at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Probably didn't tap that on the Nokia X35G. So let's go load the individual articles. So 1, 2, go. So like I said, more or less the performance are going to be the same, and if all there are differences, these are probably milliseconds of differences which are negligible in real life. Again, Very similar performance from both these devices, despite, like I said, the Nothing having a superior Wi-Fi performance, a superior Geekbench scoring. This is one last article about the same. Now, the other thing that I like to take your attention that we are here is the refresh rate. The refresh rate on the Nothing Phone 1 is at 120 Hz and it's at 90 Hz on the Nokia X35G. So, can you feel the difference between the 90 Hz and the 120 Hz? I wasn't expecting to feel much of a difference, but in reality, yes. The Nothing Phone 1 has a more buttery scrolling effect compared to that of the Nokia X35G. Now, we've talked about the display a bit. Now, both these devices do have an OLED display. The display on the Nothing Phone 1 on paper is more superior, as it also supports HDR10 Plus and up to 1 billion shades of color. The Nokia X35G, on the other hand, supports only pure display technology, no HDR certification, and there's no much information on the color gamut that the Nokia X35G supports. So this is one video that I like to share with you. Now do take note that on the Nothing Phone 1 it's playing at 1080p 60 frames per second with HDR. On the Nokia X35G it is at 1080p 60 frames, no HDR. But we do know that the pure display technology allows all contents on the display to have an HDR effect, and surprisingly the display on the Nokia X35G beats that of the Nothing Phone 1. Even in my comparison with the Nokia G65G, the performance of the display is surprisingly good, even able to compete with the display on the Nothing Phone 1. And this is a very apparent difference here, where the colors, the contrast on the Nokia X35G is superior than the one on the Nothing Phone 1. So pure display is actually a very good display. You can see this is one area where the contrast, the details on the Nokia X35G is superior than the Nothing Phone 1. So despite not having an official HDR branding on the display, not being able to play HDR playback in YouTube streaming, but we get to experience a better display on the Nokia X35G, which is really surprising here. Now, another issue with the Nokia X35G is the not so good speaker. So it has a mono speaker, it is loud, but it tends to feel slightly more hollow as it lacks depth. On the Nothing Phone 1, it has a dual speaker thanks to the earpiece and the combination with the bottom firing speaker. You've got a stereo output, it is loud, and it is definitely a better experience. So I'm just going to increase the volume here. So this is maximum. And on the Nokia X35G, yes, it is loud, but I would say it lacks the depth. Now, there are some other things that make the Nothing Phone 1 probably a better bargain for some. The Wi-Fi, the wireless charging capability, which is lacking on the Nokia X35G, and also the eye candy effect that the Nothing Phone 1 have. Now, do take note that despite the Nothing Phone 1 packing superior hardware compared to the Nokia X35G, it is priced aggressively well. This is one key area that Nokia and HMD Global has to sort of figure a best way of providing their experience at a lower price point so that more people have access to the device. Now I'm going to end this video by sharing some images taken by both these devices. The Nokia X35G has a 50 megapixel premium sensor with optical image stabilization and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. The Nothing Phone 1 has a 50 megapixel primary sensor with optical image stabilization and a 50 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Now you might be thinking that the 50 megapixel sensor on the Nothing Phone 1 to be superior, but this is a quad Bay sensor compared to the standard RGB sensor. So the effective pixel on the Nothing Phone 1 is at 12.5 megapixel, but on the Nokia X30 it is higher at 13 megapixel. But like I've said earlier, the results might not translate well because the fusion that is being used on the Nokia X35G and even the Nokia G65G could use some upgrade. So I'm going to end this video by sharing some images and video shot with both these devices. I do hope you enjoyed this brief presentation. And for those of you who are curious with the recent camera firmware update on the Nokia X35G that introduced a new feature, you can follow me up on Twitter where I share my small review and take on the feature. So with that said, I hope to see you in my next one. Do give a thumbs up, do share this video if you find it interesting, and I hope to see you in my next video.